You grew up watching the wrong Decepticon leader, and most Transformers fans never realized it. For anyone who remembers Transformers in the 1980s, Shockwave was just another Decepticon commander, a loyal soldier, a servant of Megatron. But hidden in the original Marvel comics was a much darker story, one where Shockwave didn't follow Megatron. He humiliated him, overthrew him, and nearly became the most dangerous Decepticon in history. And it all started with a signal that should never have existed. 4 million years ago, something happened in a frozen corner of this planet that even Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots, did not understand. A signal went dark. A mystery was buried, and nobody, not the Autobots, not the Decepticons, knew that the most dangerous mind on either side of their war had simply been waiting this entire time. Ratchet found something buried in the Ark's memory banks, a signal 4 million years old. A probe traced it to the Antarctic, the Savage Land, and found a being already at war with the planet. His power was second only to Megatron's. His name was Shockwave, and unlike every Decepticon you remember from the cartoon, he was never fighting for Megatron. Megatron simply didn't know it yet. But here is where it gets dark. The Ark didn't send warriors, it sent fear, disguised as biology. 5 Autobots, reshaped to mirror what his scanners saw as dominant Grimlock, Slag, Sludge, Snarl, Swoop. The Dinobots were born from fear of him. They went to confront him, 5 against 1. Grimlock gave the order attack together, all at once, and for a moment it looked like enough. Swoop dove from above. Snarl struck with his tail. Slag burned him. Grimlock clamped down on his weapon arm with his own jaws. It wasn't enough. Shockwave had simply been letting them try. One blow scattered all 5 of them like scrap metal. He was faster than Swoop in the air. He threw him into a pool of black tar at the base of a cliff, and the harder Swoop fought it, the faster it pulled him under. The other 4 were trapped between that same pool and the cliff face, and Shockwave, safely out of their reach, simply opened fire. Logic says you're out of options, he told them. He wasn't wrong. But Snarl never fought logically. He never had. Cornered, he lashed his tail into the base of the cliff itself and brought the whole mountain down, on the Dinobots, on the tar pit, on Shockwave. It wasn't strategy that buried him. It wasn't even the Dinobots. Not really. It was one warrior too reckless to calculate the odds, and an avalanche that didn't care who it was supposed to bury. The signal went dark because there was nothing left transmitting. Shockwave's survival systems did exactly what they were built to do: shut everything down and wait. That mystery stayed buried for 4 million years until the Ark's own probe, sent to monitor the wreckage, dug him out without ever knowing what it had found. The weapon built to destroy Shockwave ended up needing an accident to free him. He didn't even need to wake himself up. Earth, present day. The Autobots are out of fuel, and Megatron knows it. Ravage has been watching, reporting, and Megatron hears exactly what he wants to hear. The Autobots are helpless. Only 5 of them still have enough power to even stand Optimus, Puffer, Ironhide, Bluestreak, Mirage. The Ark drains what little fuel remains into those 5 and gambles everything on it. Megatron comes in person, Starscream beside him. The battle that follows is not close. Puffer is pinned down, Bluestreak is shaking, Mirage's armor is sliced open. Optimus catches Starscream out of the sky with his bare hands, and it doesn't matter. Megatron's fist still sends him flying 200 yards across the battlefield. For one moment, it looks finished. Pay close attention, because this is where it gets complicated. The human prisoner forced to make their fuel Sparkplug Witwicky had done this before. 30 years earlier, in a war the Decepticons knew nothing about, he had learned exactly how to make an enemy's machine turn against itself. He poisoned it. And at the exact moment of Megatron's victory, the pain came. Not from a weapon, from inside. "This can't be happening," Megatron says. "I won! I won't be cheated!" But he already had been. One by one, the Decepticons collapsed at the height of what should have been their triumph. And that is the moment something 35 feet long rose silently over the wreckage of both armies. It transformed. After 4 million years of silence, Shockwave had returned. Here is what the cartoon never told you. Shockwave didn't fight his way into power. He simply stepped into a vacuum no one else had noticed was already open. While Megatron's body was still being repaired, Shockwave was already giving the orders, already calling Megatron's leadership former out loud to the Decepticons themselves, before Megatron had even opened his eyes. When Megatron finally woke and demanded to know how the war had been lost under Shockwave's watch, Shockwave didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He delivered a verdict. Logic dictates there is no place for such emotionalism in a Decepticon commander, nor is there room for incompetence, for stealing energy facilities and not being able to use them, for being fooled by lower forms, for defeat. That is why I now command. And to prove the point wasn't rhetorical, Shockwave turned his weapon on a fallen Autobot lying nearby and fired, a demonstration, a warning aimed at someone who wasn't even the target. Megatron called him Commander Shockwave that day. But here's the thing the comic makes clear that the cartoon never could. Megatron was already planning his revenge. He just didn't have the strength to take it yet, because logic, for Shockwave, was never about keeping the peace. It was about scale. He ordered the wrecked Autobots preserved, not destroyed, not melted down, but kept. Spare parts, he called them. Except for one. Optimus Prime. Shockwave calculated with 99.7% certainty that Optimus had carried something out of Cybertron before the war ever reached Earth. The Creation Matrix, the program that builds new Transformer life. The thing that, once every 10,000 years, is passed to a single new Autobot leader. 11 Decepticons, Shockwave reasoned, were not enough for what he intended. He wanted the Matrix. He wanted to build more, many more. And while he was at it, he'd already studied the species running this planet and reached his conclusion: weak, inferior, by every measure he could find. And the time to begin our reign is now. Shockwave didn't ask permission to take what he wanted next. He flew to an oil drilling rig off the Oregon coast, the most advanced in the world, and simply claimed it. I, Shockwave, claim this facility for myself. The humans fought back with everything they had. Helicopters, automated cannons, wire-guided harpoons that actually tore into his armor. The comic is explicit that the pain was real, that Shockwave is alive enough to feel it. None of it was enough. He blinded every pilot in the sky with a single burst of light from his own weapon. And then he let the survivors go not out of mercy, but as a message. Tell them the new era is here. The conquest of your planet by the Decepticons began today. 146 miles away, inside the Ark, Megatron, still suspended in a life support harness, still being rebuilt, heard that broadcast. And he understood, for the first time, exactly how much he had already lost. Megatron tore the support cables out of his own chest. The pain was instant. He didn't care. He found Shockwave inside the Ark and did something almost no one expected from a commander who had just sworn loyalty. He fired his fusion cannon point blank. Shockwave, you are relieved of command. The blast sent Shockwave flying for miles across the Oregon landscape. He crash-landed in the middle of a high school football stadium. Megatron followed, certain this was finally over. You cannot hide from Megatron. I come to crush whatever life remains within you. It wasn't over. Shockwave threw Megatron into the side of a building like he weighed nothing. More life flows through my circuits than you can ever crush, Megatron. You are a fool to attack me. And then he did something colder than the punch itself. He explained, in precise terms, exactly why Megatron was going to lose. The wounds that hadn't healed, the pain slowing every movement, the reaction time reduced to a fraction of what it used to be. By every measure, I am your superior. That is why you shall lose this battle. That is why I command the Decepticons. Megatron's own injuries finished the job. Thrown into a water tank, his unhealed circuits short-circuited on contact. Shockwave didn't even need to finish him directly. Your own misguided action opened the doorway to your doom. Now I shall close it. He found Megatron broken, smoking, defeated, And Megatron did something the cartoon's Megatron never once did on screen. He begged, "I beg you, Shockwave, spare me the humiliate." And here is the line the entire comic was building toward. The line that explains exactly what kind of villain Shockwave actually is. "No, I could tear your head from your body and reduce your remains to molten, worthless slag, Megatron, but logic says you have significantly greater value to me, alive, than dead." For now. This is the tragedy the cartoon was never built to tell. Shockwave isn't merciful. He has simply calculated that a living, humiliated Megatron is more useful to him than a dead one. Your demise shall come at a time of my choosing, not yours. Back inside the Ark, Shockwave didn't hide what he'd done. He put Megatron's ruined body on display, in front of every Decepticon who had once followed him without question. Examine him closely. Consider his fate. His is the fate shared by all those who oppose me. One by one, the comic tells us, a visible shudder passed through every Decepticon in that room like a wave. And then they answered, together, in a single voice. "Hail Shockwave, Decepticon Commander Supreme. We function for you and you alone." Megatron said nothing. There was nothing left for him to say. The cartoon gave Shockwave one line, one post, one tower on Cybertron to guard for the rest of his run. The comic gave him something far more disturbing. A being who never needed to be loyal to anyone, because loyalty itself was inefficient. A mind that didn't conquer Megatron through hatred or ambition or rage. He did it the way he did everything else, by calculating that it was simply correct. And in the final panel of this story, there's no celebration, no triumph. Just two figures, one human, one machine sitting together in the dark, bracing for whatever comes next. That's not a villain's defeat. That's the beginning of his reign. So here's the question worth sitting with. Was Shockwave ever truly a Decepticon? Or was Megatron's entire war just the most efficient path available to something that never believed in the cause at all? Remember the weapon the Ark built 4 million years ago, just to bury him? It didn't win. It didn't even survive. And the same forces that buried it ended up freeing him without ever meaning to. That's the part that should bother you. Shockwave doesn't need loyalty, or strategy, or even luck to work in his favor. Sooner or later, it just does. If this video changed the way you see a character you thought you already understood, subscribe. The next hidden history is already waiting in the pages.